Even in the pages of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada wrote way back 40 years ago, 45 years ago, the culture of India is lost, what to speak of now. So Shiv Kumar was giving his introduction, and then one child started crying in the back of the audience. And Shiv Kumar Sharma, in a very gentlemanly way, he said, there is one maestro in the audience tonight. And he said, I would humbly like to request that if the maestro starts to perform while I am performing, that his manager could please take him out from the auditorium, because I'm very much afraid that his raga will conflict with my raga. And then another time, it was a great performance. Ooh, it was something great. And then Birju Maharaj performed. Birju Maharaj is a Bengali man, about 70 years old, and he does Kathak dance. Oh, it was like he was doing these things, you know, and he would end one movement, and everybody in the audience would go, because through his artistic expression of culture, he was like just pulling emotion out of people, and you'd hear the whole audience go, That's why Srila Prabhupada said that we can conquer, our movement will be he called it a cultural conquest. We should conquer the world through the culture of Krishna consciousness. Meaning, naturally, philosophy is an aspect of culture, and ritual is an aspect of culture, and our cuisine is an aspect of culture, and our dance is an aspect of culture, and our dress is an aspect of culture, and the drama is an aspect of culture, and so many wonderful cultural aspects by which we can bring people to Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Vedesha sarvaya aham eva vedya. He says there is the Veda, and there is the Vedic culture, and he says, aham, I am the ultimate goal of the Vedic culture. So, like, through so many different types of presentation, people can become attracted to Krishna. Then one time Srila Prabhupada was giving a class, I heard this lecture, and I think maybe it was a press conference, I'm not sure, or no, maybe a class. And one child started to cry, and Srila Prabhupada said, could you please remove the child? And then there was somebody there in the audience that just immediately attacked Prabhupada. And they said, if you are a realized soul, why are you disturbed by a child? And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, I'm not disturbed, but your brain will certainly become disturbed. And you won't be able to concentrate on what I'm saying. This is needless to say, this is a very beautiful verse. And it's, the verse is, it is very succinct, but it makes a very strong impression. And then Prabhupada's purport is like beautifully, so beautifully written poetry, you know, or prose, describing the emotions and the feelings of pure devotional service. And Kunti Devi, she takes an example that we can relate to. she gives the example of the powerful Ganga. And she says that in the same way that the powerful Ganga flows without any obstruction to the sea, let my devotion to you flow in the same way without any hindrance. Nothing can stop the flow of the Ganga. Similarly, let my devotion to you be unobstructed. And to the best of my recollection, there's a similar verse in the Kapila Dev section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Kapila, he says that he defines pure devotion in a similar way. He says that like the mighty Ganga flowing to the sea, when my spirit of loving devotion will flow to your lotus feet, that will be known as pure devotion. So Prabhupada begins his purport from the perspective that perfection of pure devotion means that all of the feelings of life become directed to Krishna. He says that it's pure devotion to the Lord, or perfection of pure devotional service, does not mean to cancel or to try to negate the finer feelings of life. Feelings of love, feelings of friendship, feelings of so many different feelings. Prabhupada even says feelings like desire, and anger, and different hankerings. Pure devotion doesn't mean to simply cancel these things or to negate these things, but he says it means to direct towards the Lord. And he says that, he makes the essential point that desire is something which is eternal, and desire is a function of the eternal spiritual soul. We know that the first point, like the first philosophical concept that the Lord presents to Arjuna in his discussion of the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Arjuna, he says, try to understand one thing, and this is the beginning of the Lord's entire argument, because he presents a very, Bhagavad Gita is an argument, it's a philosophical argument from the beginning to the end. It's a philosophical argument that evolves, and it's a very tight-knit argument. It's a very clear argument, which concludes in surrender to me. Everything else should be given up. You should surrender to me. So the first point that he makes is, Arjuna, you should understand one thing. Never was there a time when I did not exist. No, never was there a time when any of these kings on the battlefield did not exist. There was never a time when you didn't exist. And there will never come a time in the future where any of us will cease to exist. Two things. One thing, just the first argument, establishing the eternal aspect of the soul. And then second thing, through establishing the eternality of the soul, presenting the concept that even if we do attain perfection, the soul will not be annihilated, or the soul will not lose its eternal nature into something else. It's not that we will lose our identity into the Brahman, or that we will enter into the void, or some concept like that. But the soul is eternal, and the functions of the soul, such as desire and hankering, these are eternal as well. So then basically the argument evolves with